In this episode of Katie Does Her PGCE, we're going back in time. So, today I've got a book called Secondary Modern Discipline, with special reference to The Difficult Adolescent by Richard Farley. A splendid book, says the Times. So this book I picked up in a charity shop, and I'll be doing a video soon about charity shops and how great they are for teaching resources. This book was printed in 1960s, and it is a book about teaching in secondary moderns. Like, what we know about secondary moderns is that a lot of them didn't give qualifications, they're sort of seen as second best. Grammar school is where you're going to achieve. Secondary modern, you've not got much chance of doing things like university and getting qualifications. So it's obviously quite an interesting read, and the introduction is called Into Battle. And let me do this. I just want to read what they say about secondary modern. And it says, because I am concentrating on a secondary modern, do not infer that I am unaware of problems in primary school, grammar schools, but as 70% of our population and the majority of our secondary teachers now use the secondary modern, it is natural to give it priority. Although children all over the world, certain factors emerge about this type of school. 1. This is where you will meet pupils of a low IQ. Here will be pupils with a sense of failure. This is where you will meet many products of poor parental control. Here are pupils with no definite examinations to work for. Schools in this category are overcrowded with pupils at a difficult age. Some schools are in old buildings, totally unsuited to a modern syllabus. In the cities you'll find more trouble than in other schools. Staff are in short supply. This is the only job you're likely to get at first, unless you have a good degree or maths and science qualification. Wow. So this is the beginning of the book, and they're already saying these students are going to fail, they're not working towards anything, they've got bad parents, they've got a low IQ, they're unintelligent, the schools are not fit for purpose, the parents, the teachers are unhappy, the students are unhappy. Isn't that just lovely? This chapter made me smile quite a lot. So this chapter is called The Awkward Boy. And this is said, for certain pupils, these courses of actions are open to the teacher. He can subdue the boy by persistent corporal punishment. He can ignore him. He can try to understand the boy and meet him halfway. He can cope as best he can, carry on running a skirmish and spasmodic eruptions. Well, haven't schools moved a long way? So this kind of makes me think, I'm in a Prue. It kind of makes me think, how would my young people have been labelled in the 60s? Because a lot of the young people who I work with can't cope in mainstream. They just can't do it. They haven't got concentration levels, they've got classroom anxiety, whatever. And there, they would just get the cane, they would just hit them. You know, which is why I'm so grateful that I work in a setting where we care about the kids, we're so holistic about our approach with them. And why I'm so glad we no longer have corporal punishment. I definitely would not be going into teaching if corporal punishment was still a thing. This book, it's amazing. It's a really good read and a really good look into like the history of teaching and what it was like to be a teacher, 50 years ago. And I'm really glad that I was born now. And, it kind of makes me think, a lot of these kids hated school. They would not have lasted. This is what is considered bad behaviour in the secondary modern. Okay, so it says, lessons are not automatic affairs, and the best laid out plans end in chaos sometimes, unless one can quickly improvise. The type of situations to watch out for are insufficient books, ink or blotting paper, pupils not being able to see the blackboard if you write too small. This is often the result of trying to get the class to do a lot of work. Broken chairs, interruptions like poppy day, tea money, no chalk or blackboard duster, a boy falls ill, a teacher is called away to the telephone, troubles with windows, creaking chairs, muck in the inkwell, like boy falling off chair. These don't sound that bad to me. This sounds like, well, you need to plan better. But you know. Basically, to conclude, this book is a brilliant insight into what it was like in the 60s. It is funny to read now because you just think this would never happen in a secondary school now. And I just hate the fact that so many people were labelled as useless back in the 50s, 60s. So this video is just to say, let's be grateful for how awesome the school system is now. Obviously it's not perfect, but we don't have to hit anyone as a teacher now, and I really appreciate that. Bye!